Alright guys, welcome back. Now I'm going to be on to the next spec for the Shaman. It's going to be that Elemental. So we're going to go over and how I view it. It's not like a build for anything that we're watching, looking from a website or anything. It's just a build that how I determine a build and how you can determine a build. Um, you know, let's just say you wanted to kind of go off of what you think, and this is how you should be thinking about it. So let's go ahead and get to it. The Elemental. We did the other one with the restoration, the healing, on our last video. So let's go ahead and get going with this. So Elemental is in general a range damage. As you can see here, probably focus on intellect. We're going to go ahead and go into what we have. So this is what we got. We're going to go through each talent and see what's going to be good for as range DPS. Don't need chain heal, not a healer, so didn't get anything with chain heal. Lava burst, it throws damage, about 15,000 and change. It's going to be critically striked automatically if you get the flame shock, which you already have as a shaman, so very good. Of course, astral shift, so a lot of damage is going out. You got to pop this off every minute and a half. 40 damage reduction, which is extremely good. We have that. Chain lightning, this is your AoE, one of them as a shaman, so we're going to get this so we can do some damage, total affecting up to 5 targets, which is great. Now let's go to the next section. Wind shear as an elemental shaman, it's really good to have something to have it as an interrupter, just in case for yourself. You don't know if there's going to be a bunch of ads and you have to take one or help somebody take one and they don't have an interrupt or something. This is going to help you out there. Now we get into the Plains Traveler. We have this choice, or we have the Astral Bulk Ward, and you can either take an additional 20% damage reduction, which is 40%, or reduce it by 30 seconds. I went with 30 seconds because I'm the type of player I rather use my cooldowns more often, so which is why I have this. The next one is the Spirit Wolf. So you can have the one that gives you more movement speed and 5% reduction every time it stacks up to 4 times. Or you can have the Thunderous Paws, which is removes snares and increases your movement by an additional 25% for 3 seconds. So I don't like the Thunderous Paws. I like this one because it's a guarantee that it's going to stack up to 4 times and you're reducing damage. So it's a much better fit for the way I play. I mean, maybe your peer's ping, you could do something like this, but the Spirit Wolf was always the best way to go, and you can move around a lot faster in the raid if something's happening, a lot of movement. The next one is Frost Shock. So you're going to be able to slow down movement for targets up to 50% or to 50%, and then it does 8,000 and change damage. The next one is Maelstrom Weapon. When you deal damage with a melee weapon, you have a chance to gain Maelstrom Weapon, stacking up to 5 times. Each stack of Maelstrom Weapon reduces the cast time of your next damage or healing spell by 20%. So it wasn't something that I really wanted to focus on or have. It wasn't really it's great because also I mean this is passive, but we're not doing any melee damage, so it's not really good to be helping us. So nothing we can do there. Our shield, we're not a healer. We don't need to worry about reducing damage to us or healing ourselves. We have our own self-heal. We don't really need it. Next one's Fire and Ice. Increases all fire damage and frost damage by 3. We're always doing elemental damage. We're always going to be doing these type of damage. We want to increase our damage as much as we can. There it is. Earth Elemental calls forth a greater elemental to protect you and your allies. Very good. Shit hits the fan, you have a way to bring out a buddy, a little elemental to help you out, defend you or so. And this is why I have it. An extra oh shit button, as I like to call them. Next one's Capacitor Totem. Allows you to place a totem at a certain location that you target. It goes off. All the targets that are in that range within 8 yards are stunned for 3 seconds. So, but it does take 2 seconds before it explodes, so you have to time it. So, but it's a situational type totem. I like this type because sometimes there's a lot of ads and the tank's taking a lot or anything, or I'm a healer and I need to slow it down, or even as damage I want to slow down this enemy and lock him in a place. This is what we're going to do to stun, lock him, and hold him there. This is why I like to use that one. Next one is Ancestral Wolf Affinity. We're not doing any of this. We're not going to be cleansing Spirit, Wind Shear, Purge. We're not really focused on that. We're focusing on just shooting out our damage. We're trying to shoot out as much damage as we can. Brimming with Life, increase your maximum health by 8%, and while you're at full health, reincarnation cools down 75% faster. Reincarnation is where you die, you can re-res yourself. Well, are you going to keep dying? So it's really the question here. No, we're not planning to. The 8% is great, but the other half of that ability is not going to be useful to you. So this is the reason why I don't use it, and this is how I determine to pick, because I'm only using half of this ability. It's not going to be using it that often. The other half. Not planning on dying. Elemental Orbit, or since we don't have a shield, we don't need any of this. Next one is Healing Stream Totem. Stream Totem, we're not a healer, so we don't need this. So just pass. Ancestral Defense. Increase leech by 2% and reduces damage taken from area effects by 2%. Extremely great. We want that leech as well, which is why I took it. It's passive, it's great, it's amazing, and reduces that damage from the AoE effects. Still helpful. Next one, Tremor Totem. It's a situational type totem, removing fear, charm, sleep, and effects from parties, including yourself. So something's coming or anything, you just put that down, you can stop it, saves yourself too. So it's amazing. I use it. Next one is Static Charge. It reduces the cooldown of the Capacitor Totem, the stunning one totem, by 5 seconds for each target it stuns. So up to a maximum of 20 seconds. So the stunning totem takes 54 seconds. You can get down to 34 seconds every time for this totem. It's amazing. That's why I use this. Passive is great. Next, this other one is Guardian's Crudgel. When capacitor totem fades or is destroyed, another capacitor totem is automatically dropped in the same location or the same place. Well, I don't really like this if we think about it from a situational standpoint, even a raid or somewhere else we're moving around. Well, what if those enemies aren't there? So it's a waste. So I don't use it. That's why I avoid it. I'd rather just have a chance to increase and lower down the amount of reduction of seconds. I'd rather take my chances there. That's how I determine between those two. Where's it at? There it is. Now here, Purge. It's really good. So let's say we got an enemy. We have to help target, or this enemy keeps putting buffs on himself. Then we can start removing them if we're able to. This is why I put a Purge in there. There's another one called Graded Purge, where it also removes 2 magical beneficial spells. Well, it's a 12-second cooldown. What if I need it right now? That's the reason why I didn't pick this one. This one's a guarantee. It's 1, but usually most things don't put more than 1 almost all the time. It's only just usually 1 type of beneficial magical buff that they put on. So that's the reason I just stuck with the 1. Plus the mana reduction, as you can see, 35,000 to 52,000. Quite a jump. I'd rather use the lower one just to save some mana on top of that. Don't need Flurry. We're not any melee. Swirling Currents, we're not healing, so it doesn't matter. Cleanse Spirit, I did take this one because what if I got a curse on me that slows down my DPS or something like that? Went ahead and used it. Still need some type of curse effects to remove off myself or another friendly target. That's why I took it. Earthgram Totem, which roots enemies, 8 yards, 8 seconds, versus Wind Rush Totem, granting allies 40%, including myself. I'd rather move around faster. Shamans are naturally built into an Earthbind Totem, which slows down the movement of enemies within 10 yards. So I didn't really see what was the benefit of locking them or rooting them in place. I'd rather move faster. I mean, I have double fast already because of the Ghost Wolf, but now I don't have to worry about turning Ghost Wolf. I could just stay in this form and move around or help allies when that totem falls, so including myself. So this is why I stuck with the Wind Rush. Is much better in my opinion. The Hex, this is for more, let's say there's a lot of ads, or there's an ad during a boss that pops out on the side and you need to just lock it down. Hex is there. Hex is your friend, which is why we will turn the target to a frog and it keeps it there in place. and they just hop around until it goes away. Best thing, so I use Hex. Nature's Fury increases the critical strike chance of your nature spell by 4%. We want to keep increasing that critical strike, that chance, because we hit harder when we do crits. This is why. Next one is Elemental Warding. Reduces all magic damage taken by 4%. Extremely good, as it says. Just we keep reducing damage. That's less things that we have to worry about healing ourselves for the heal or helping out, which is good. Next one, Guardians, Nature's Guardians. When your health is below 35%, you instantly heal for 20%. I thought this was extremely good and for a damage versus healing, because if we're doing a crap load of damage and a shitload to it, what if we pull off the target or a single target or something and it hits us, and if they hit us really hard, at least we have a chance to heal up once, and it allows us to click our defensive or whatever we need. So we have options. And it's on the back line, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just going to trigger on itself. That's the reason why it's there. That's why this is really good. This is between Voodoo Mastery, reduces the hex of 15 seconds, or your target is slowed by 70% hex, for 6 seconds after it ends. Well, if it's already moving slow after you hex it and it'll move slow, well, this kind of eliminates Earthbind Totem. So there's no point to have 2 of layering unless, I guess, if you're P versus ping, but for more P versus E environment, it's not going to matter. You want to use this more often, which is why I always stick with trying to use my move more often in general. Way better. So we went to the reduction of Voodoo Mastery. Next is the winds. We're going to see with increased movement speed bonus of Ghostwolf by 5%. So don't really need it. We're already moving a lot of fast. We have wind, the wind rush here, and then we also have the Spirit Wolf, which we're going to be moving faster. No need to triple up or anything like that. It's fine. It's just not needed. So passed on that one. The next one is Spirit Walker's Grace. Allows you to cast while you're moving. So now we can move fast without the Spirit Wolf through Wind Rush Totem. And now we can move faster and then cast while we're doing it, so our DPS doesn't lower. So this is why this is extremely good. That's why I kept that and took it. This is Thunderstorm. You call a storm, hits where you are, anything in the area, all the enemies get pushed back, and also their movement is 40%. So, and they get knocked away from the shaman, where your shaman is. Extremely good. Let's say there's a lot of targets, or you need to start corralling, start maneuvering some of the ads to help the tank out or so. You can actually go to the side, Thunderstorm, and I'll push them a little bit more if they're able to be pushed. This is why I took Thunderstorm. Really good. It's just good on the side. Totem Focus. Not really pushing out a lot of totems. No really need for it. Totems, for the way I build my Shaman as an elemental, I don't really need it. It's more of a lighter support, so don't need to focus onto it. Next one is Spirit Walk or Gust of Wind. Don't really need anything. I don't need to remove any of my impairments or anything. If I go into a Ghost Wolf, I'm going to gain more speed anyways. I don't really care if I have slowed movement by 20% or something. My Ghost Wolf will eventually outrun it, so no problem. So don't really care about either of these two. And throwing me or hurling me forward, why do I want to hurl forward? I can use Ghost Wolf just to move up or anything. I'll move just as fast or faster. And this is 30 seconds. Not going to use it that often. Alright, keep going on. Graceful Spirit reduces the cooldown of Spirit Walker's Grace by 30 seconds, increase your movement by 20%, so even faster now, versus when you cast Spirit Walker's Grace, you become immune to silence and interrupts for 5 seconds. There's not literally a lot of bosses that silences or interrupts, so you're fine, but using this more often and you're going to keep getting more movement speed, because faster movement is way better in general as a whole, because the faster you can be where you need to be, you can start focusing on your damage. You're not worried about trying to get placed. You're just moving faster. Plus, it's reducing it by 30 more seconds, minute and a half. Can't beat it. Ancestral Guidance. For the next 10 seconds, 25% of your healing. And 25% of your damage converted up to healing. We're not healing. Simple as that. Totem projection. We don't use a lot of totems. Don't need it. We don't need to replace our totems or anything. Totemic surge reduces the cooldown of your totems. Well, there is totems that we will use, and as a whole, it's better, which is something like the Earth Elemental. That will be great. The Capacitor totem would be great types of things that we can reduce it. Plus the reducers already that has a chance to. It's a good layering effect. This is good to have right here. Go with the flow. Reduces the cooldown of Spirit Walk by 10 and Gust of Wind of it. We don't have it, so it doesn't matter. Not using it. Going to Mana Spring. Well, we're always casting Lava Burst, so we'll restore 150 mana. Can't beat that. It's going to help healers, going to help whoever's casters around us. Why is extremely good. Go ahead and use it. Thundershock versus Lasso. Thundershock. Thunderstorm knocks up instead of away, its cooldown is reduced. It knocks up, or knocks enemies up instead of away. Well, we'd rather corral them than just knock them up, because what if they're hitting you and you do this? Well, they're not pushing them away now. Now they're just going up. So you didn't move anywhere. They're still gonna hit you. That's why I didn't pick this one. Lightning Lasso, in my opinion, is way better. You throw a lasso. It's going to stun the target. You're doing a crap load of damage while you're doing it. Over 5 seconds, you're channeling, but they're stunned. They're not hurting you, but you're doing 65,000 and change on them. Way better. Poison cleansing. So sometimes there's a lot of poison going on. Some of the healers can remove poison, yes, but not all of them can remove everyone as a whole in general, like right away. Sometimes it takes a healer to take one, and then there's a cooldown period before they can use it again. I says, well, what if it's the poison frog or some poison that you get so many stacks you die? Well, I didn't want that, so that's why I got this one. Really good, a little tech tool. Next one is Totem Recall. It resets the cooldown of your most recently used totem. Base cooldown shorter than 30 minutes. Okay, well, don't really use totems that much, so not really going to use it. It's no problem there, and that's why we didn't pick it. Nature Swiftness. Your next healing or damage spell is instant cast and cost no mana. Don't really need to, because we already have a cycle where we use Stormkeeper, which basically charges yourself with lightning, causes your next healing to deal 150 damage, and causes your next healing spells or chain heal to be instant cast. So there's no reason for really this. I mean, you could triple, but by the time you want to keep doing those, then you're going to be using Lava Burst or another type of move. So there's no reason to stack in that way, unless you really want to just keep shooting out super fast. Then I guess you can, but you're only doing it once. One for 1 minute? Nah, probably not worth it. Look at this one, 1 minute recharge, and you already got 2 built in. It's much better. Now, these two, Stonekin Totem versus a Tranquil Air. Stonekin says, at your feet, 10% damage reduction to allies. We're not really healing, don't really need it. But the other one says Tranquil Air Totem, and puts the totem at your feet, 20 seconds that prevent cast pushback, and reduces the duration of all interrupts by 50%. So it's already better, because we want to reduce the duration of all incoming interrupts, because we're ranged, we're casters, we need to be able to shoot. This is why it's better to have this one, the Tranquil Air Totem. We didn't pick the Totem Recall, so we can't pick this anyways. It's not needed. Alright, so now we're to the actual elemental portion of this. And before we continue, if you do like this type of content or things and everything about the video, feel free to hit that like to let me know. We'd appreciate it. And going right back to the tree. So we went ahead and always get the Earth Shock, because that's what we have. And then we go right into the choice of Earthquake, which I pick. It's another type of wave AoE, which is why I picked it, and allows you to do physical damage over 7 seconds with an 8% chance to knock the enemy down. That's pretty good. So if they're hitting you or something, you piss on your ground, there's a chance to also knock them down. So, and then you don't have to do anything, it just sits there, so it's amazing. Next one is Elemental Fury. Your damage critical strike deal 250% damage instead of the usual. Well, we had a talent on the other side that gave us more crit, which is why we picked this, because we have a chance more to, if we're going to crit, we're going to hit a lot more, so it's way better. Now the two picks here, Fire Elemental or Storm Elemental. Fire Elemental says, calls forth a Fire Elemental, range destruction of your enemies. While the Fire Element is active, Flame Shock deals 33% faster, and newly applied flame targets last 100% longer. Pretty good. The other one is Storm Elemental, calls forth a greater Storm Elemental to hurl gust of wind that damage the shaman's enemies for 30 seconds. While the elemental is active, each time you cast Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning, the cast of the Lightning Bolt and the Chain Lightning is reduced by 3% up to 10 times. So it could be up to 30s. Was it 30%? So in the long run, unless you really want to focus into Flame Shock, this is why you would pick the Flame Animal. But in general, I rather focus more into the chain lightning because sometimes there's a lot more ads, and I need chain lightning versus a single target. This allows me to pick between an AoE or a single target, the Storm Elemental. While I feel and believe that the Fire Elemental only allows you to pick off of one target because Flame Shock can only target Flame Shock. It's only a single target. This one allows me to pick two versus just one. So if I want to really focus on just one boss, you could just swap this way, yes. But you're going to single target in with a lightning bolt, so just pick Storm Elemental. That's the way I went that way. That's how I determined that. Alright, keep going. And then we have the fissures here. Increase the chance of earthquake to knock down by 3%. So now it's 8% to 11%. There it is, much better. This one says your successful purge, cleanse spirit, healing stream totem, hex, and wind shear cast generate 8 seconds. We're not doing any of those besides hex, which is only once in a while. Don't really need it, not really worried, so we ignored it and went to the left, the fissures. So there we are, going to this. We didn't pick either of them. We didn't need your healing critical strikes, we're not healing, and focus insight. Casting Flame Shock reduces the mana cost of your next heal. We're not healing. Alright, next one. Refreshing Waters. Your healing surge is 30% more effective on you. Yes, we need this. We're not a healer, but we still need to be alive. So if there's a lot of damage in the raid going on, and we want to just help the healer out, or help you don't want to die either, so you would use this. Well, you're going to get 30% more of that heal off of it. So that means you don't have to heal twice, maybe. Maybe you'll have to heal once now because it's 30% stronger. This is why we picked this one. The other one is the Primordial Bond. While you have an elemental active, your damage taken is reduced by 5%. Well, who cares about 5% when you already have a 40% reduction over here? Plus, you can only use the elemental 2.5 minutes, every 2.5 minutes, and the earth elemental is every 5 minutes. So you're not really getting any use of this. It's very rare. This one's way more consistent, and it's already constant, and it's already happening now. That's why we went this route. Next one, Call of Thunder. Increases the damage of your lightning bolt and chain lightning and storm elemental by 15%. Way better, which also goes combination with this. So I have a choice of any AoE or single target. This is why I picked this one. Flow of Power increases the maelstrom generated by lightning bolt and lava burst by 2, and their elemental overloads by 1. So I was considering it, but I kind of felt like I already have enough shooting power and haste that over time I probably could use it, but I didn't really want to focus into the maelstrom because I'm going to be doing the other maneuvers, which you'll see later in the tree. Lava Surge. Your Flame Shock damages over time has a 10% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on the Lava Burst and causing your next Lava Burst to be instant. So, as it says, Flame Shock's damage over Flame Shock damage over time has a 10% chance. So it's automatically doing it. You already have a 10% chance, and it'll just reset the Lava Burst. That's the reason why. It's just good. You don't have to do anything. You just pop the Flame Shock. It could happen right then. That's the reason why it's there. You don't have to do anything. That's why that portion is amazing. Now we're going to Unrelenting Comedy, reducing the cast time of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning by 0.25, which is a quarter of a second. Increase the duration of Earthquake by an extra 1 second. That means more damage. It's a great pick, and it's reducing your Lightning Bolt, your first main cast time. Really great. Ice Fury hurls ice at the target, dealing 16,000 and change, and causes your next 4 frost shocks to deal 225% increased damage and generate 14 Maelstrom. So we could have also got more Maelstrom power this way, but this way is going to give me 14. So it's going to automatically cause my next 4 frost shocks to deal to 225 and generate 14. So this little 2-in-1 versus a 14. So 14, 14, 28, 28 times 2, because you could do a total of 4 times, and or in general it's a total of 4 times. So 14, 14, 28 plus another 28 because we're doing the 2 sets. That's 40. So we're looking at 500 or 56. There we go. 56 as a number generation of Maelstrom versus you have to keep casting this consistently. What if you got to move? Well, you just stopped. You stopped or anything, and Lava Burst is not on cooldown. Well, you could do spam the lightning bolt, but let's say you spam 2 or 3, then you got to move. Well, this one you can still be shooting the Frost Shock while moving, and you're generating that 14 Maelstrom. So when you stop moving, then you're ready to cast the other move. So I'm thinking of it as a situational, as how the actual battle, the flow of the battle is happening. That's how I'm thinking of it. So that's why I picked Ice Fury. Increase your maximum Maelstrom by 50. It might be hard just to increase it to 50 or to cap it. What if it's you're already on your full rotation and you don't need to? You just shoot it. Your Maelstrom goes down. Didn't see the benefit of it. Unless it was like a rogue and you're getting more energy, that's better. But this isn't anything of that. You have to build this, so I avoided it. Echoes of Element, Lava Burst is additional charge. It's already good, as it says. You get an extra charge. You shoot Lava Burst, you just shoot again. Perfect. Next one, Call of Fire. Increase the damage of your Flame Shock, Lava Burst, Lava Beam, and Fire level by 10%. As it says, it's increased 10%. You're automatically doing it. There you go. That's high. Now your damage, your fire damage, like your Lava Burst, is doing super high damage, and it's critting. Alright, we're going this one, Stormkeeper. Charge yourself with lightning, causing your next 2 lightning bolts to deal 150 damage more, and cause your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to be instant. Well, as it says, it's already doing way more. You're just shooting out, you're doing a lot faster, and you get 2 charges. So instead of 1, you get 2. That's, you have to wait 2 minutes to recharge, but you're still getting 2 right off the bat. This one we picked it. Next one, Flux Melting, or the next one is Electrified Shocks, and with Flux Melting, let's check that one first. Casting Frost Shock increases the damage of your next Lava Burst by 20%. As it says, your next Lava Burst, you can do another 10% in addition to this. That's 30% there. Electrify Shocks, increasing your Frost Shocks to damage of 3 targets, and targets hit take an additional 50% of nature damage from your spells for 9 seconds. I do not like the 9 seconds part versus this is always happening. So we have a constant versus a trigger, which after you shoot, then this is going to happen, but only for a time frame. Well, what if you can't do it? What if you're just shooting 1 target versus 3? Well, you're not really going to be using it enough to be effective in that way. Plus, if you have 3 targets with the Frost Shock, just do chain lightning. You're probably gonna do way more damage that way. So he went with the Flux Melting. Casting Frost Shock increases your damage by next level burst by 20%. Frost Shock, plus you shoot it. There you go. And you're generating more of Maelstrom because Ice Fury. So you have a interlinking chain between those 3 abilities. We picked this one. We picked the Echo of the Elements, but we didn't pick Aftershock, which is Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, and Earthquake have a 25% chance to refund. Well, it's only 25%. If it was 50%, maybe. 40%, that's still a maybe. But it's 25%. Maybe not happen as often. The other one was Surge of Power. It's a passive. Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, Earthquake enhances your next spell, but cast by 15 seconds. Let's see. Flame Shock, the next cast also applies Flame Shock to 1 additional target within 8 seconds, 8 yards of the target. Lightning Bolt, your next cast will cause 2 additional elemental overloads. Chain Lightning, your next cast will chain to 1 additional target. Lava Burst, reduce the cooldown of your fire and storm elemental by 6 seconds, freezes the target in place. So I really feel that it didn't use it enough to be able to have this. The Surge of Power in general would have been one I probably would have picked if I had another talent or so, but there was other talents that I wanted to go over, but and use. So I didn't really go into the Surge of Power route. I just stuck with the other talents that I wanted to focus into. So I'm not in this scenario. This one, Aftershock, wouldn't take. This one, Surge of Power, if you want to focus into those types of moves and put more emphasis, more focus into those moves, then this one is still a possibility that you can pick the Surge of Power. Myself didn't. I didn't like the way how I wanted to build my build. I didn't go this route. But I'm not saying don't pick this one. I'm saying if you do like this route, then you should go and figure out how to have enough talents to pick this one. All right, next one. Flames of the Cauldron. Reduce the cooldown of the Flame Shock by 1.5 seconds, and Flame Shock deals damage 15% faster. The 15% is amazing, and you're reducing the cooldown. Amazing. Flash of Lightning. Cause Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning to reduce the cooldown of your nature spells by 1 second. As it says, you're reducing cooldown. That means you're going to shoot faster or your heavier moves faster. Way better. Eye of the Storm. Reduce the Maelstrom cost of Earth Shock and Earthquake by 5. Reduce the Maelstrom cost of Elemental Blast by 7. Didn't really see the use of it. You're probably going to be gaining enough anyways from your Ice Fury and your Flux Melting if you need it on the side. So, no worries. Power of Maelstrom. Power of the Maelstrom. Casting Lava Burst and has a 25% chance to cause your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightning cast to trigger Elemental Overload an additional time. Yes, Elemental Overload is part of the mastery. I'm going to go step out of it so you can see real fast. And it says Elemental Overload. Your Lightning Bolt, Elemental Blast, Ice Fury, Lava Burst, and Chain Lightning has a 33% chance, based off my gear, to trigger a second cast of the same target, dealing 85% of the damage. So can you imagine all of this just triggering 25% chance? So I wanted to focus this way and take my 25% chance in this route versus a 25% chance to refund, because this is automatically happening. I don't have to build up to the Maelstrom. I'm not using Maelstrom, I'm using my mana. So this is why I went this route instead. Much better. Plus, cause your next 2 lightning bolts or chain it lightning to cast trigger Elemental Overload. You're going to cast that again, and it's going to go up to 85%. Amazing. And it could crit on top of that. All right. Next one, Master of Elements. Casting Lava Burst increases the damage or healing of your next nature's physical or frost spell by 20%. 20%, it's already happening. 20%. It's good. Improved Flame Tongue. We already have the Flame Tongue on. You have it as a Elemental Shaman naturally, but let's see what it does improved. And your weapon with Flame Tongue increases your fire spells by 5%. If you didn't pick the 5%, it's just a flat number, but now we're going to percentage, which is getting deeper into the damage range, which is better. And it's just a passive. It's just use it. It just sits there. You're doing it automatically. Amazing. Next one, Elemental Blast. It replaces the Earth Shock, but what it does is that harnesses the raw power of elements, which is dealing 55,000 and change elemental damage and increasing your critical strike or haste by 6% or mastery by 11% for 10 seconds. So it's going to just pick one of those randomly. So any of those are good. And you just shoot it. It's based by your Maelstrom. But remember, you can generate your Maelstrom pretty fast. You just use it. This will go to cooldown because it takes 90 Maelstrom, but look how much it is. But if you, let's say it reduces 7, take 7 off of that. So is it this one? I have the Storm. 5 or refund 7, reduces the cost by 7, so 7 to the 83. You still have to get 80 Maelstrom. Well, you're going to be getting quite a bit over here, 56, just from doing these on the side, so doing this technique. So it's better just to leave it there and let it build. Use it. You'll give enough time to build again or cycle. Probably some mechanics are happening. Then you're good again here again. Primordial Wave. Blast your target with a Primordial Wave, dealing 6,000 and change shadow damage, and applies Flame Shock to a target. Pretty good. The only thing why it's not horrible, but the only reason why I didn't want it is because the fact that it's a 45-second cooldown. I could be using that move for a different move or rotation of a lightning bolt, so that has a chance to trigger the mastery overload, and I could just be shooting targets much more often and consistently. So I didn't want that, so I went ahead and just didn't get that, and should be good, and it should be just fine. All right, the next one after this is between Deep-Rooted Elementals or the Ascendants. Deep-Rooted Elementals, casting levels has a 7% chance to activate Ascendants. What it does, Ascendants gets you transfer over to a Flame Ascendant for only 15 seconds, replacing Chain Lightning and some of your other moves. So it's like to a higher amount of damage type move. That's what it does, basically ascends you. It's like going Super Saiyan. This is what this does. Well, Ascendants, or I could have picked Ascendants, which you get to choose when you're going to go Super Saiyan, when you want to actually power up. So I went that route. I don't want to take 7% chance that it may or may not actually happen. And it's only for 6 seconds. Well, why would I get 6 seconds when I can get this Ascendants, which lasts a lot longer, and I get to pick it when I need it? So what happens if it happens, it triggers the 7 seconds, and it's right in the middle of like a mechanic where you gotta move, or you can't actually do it. The boss hides or something and he's untargetable. Well, you just burning 7 seconds, you can't use it. So this Ascendance allows you to pick it when you need it. It's the situational maneuver. That's why I picked this one. Way better. Here it is, Primal Elementalist. Your Fire, Earth, Storm Elementals are drawn from primordial elements, 80% more powerful than regular elements, and you have control. That was the big thing for me. The 80% is great, but I want more control. But the good other part of this is that you have control of the Earth Elemental, which allows you, in case shit hits the fan and you're using it, right? Well, now you can, because that Earth Elemental has a taunt, you can tell it to focus on that one because it'll taunt it off of you. That's why I use it, because it's like having an elemental hunter built in where you're having a pet helping you, but you get to control it now, which is great. That's why I went that route versus the liquid magma totem. Magnum totem's dealing 10,000 damage and change. That's just a totem that you place and applying the flame shock to 3 enemies within 8 yards. So yeah, you only have a chance to probably trigger more of, uh, like flame burst or so, but the cost of that is you really don't have any control of it. What if you have to stop AoE damage or something like that, or just in general just prevent that from happening? You can't. I mean, you can shut off the totem, but now you just kind of burn 54 seconds. This one is more controlled, so as in how you're controlling your abilities, which is why I went this route. You can use the liquid. This would be another one that you could use, but I don't really like the fact that I don't have that free control that I can click a button. I can click a button, place it, but if I have to remove it or do anything and remove it off the board, then it just kind of fizzes out, because then I gotta wait 54 seconds before I can use it again, and I don't like that scenario. Alright, next one, Echoes of Greater Sundering. After casting Earth Shock, your next Earthquake deals 60% damage. In the other part, after casting Elemental Blast, your next Earthquake does 70% more damage. Well, since I do the Elemental Blast, it'll be 70%, so I could time it and chain it with both. Maybe there was a lot of ads or something that helped in the raid or something. This will add an additional 70. Very good. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. Elemental Equilibrium. Dealing direct fire, frost, and nature damage within 10 seconds will increase all damage dealt by 15 seconds for 10 seconds. As it says, increases all damage dealt by 15%. 15% is huge. This is why we use this, because you're increasing your damage naturally. And it's a passive, you don't have to do anything. Rolling magma, lava burst, and your lava burst overload damage reduces the cooldown of your primordial wave. Well, we're not focusing primordial wave. 5 seconds. You can get up to a second. Not really worried. I can use another move between then. Echo chamber increases the damage dealt by your elemental overload by 8. Overload might already happen. It's not that consistent. Maybe sometimes, or maybe you have a lower mastery level percentage. Not gonna happen as often, so no need. And it's only 8%. It's not even every 10 spells. It's not even one out of every 10. It's 8%. So don't like that. Oath of the Farseer. Reduce the cooldown of Ascendance by 30%. By 30 seconds, and you gain 8% additional haste while Ascendance active. Really good. Not a bad talent. I wanted to pick it, didn't have the talent because I went to the other routes. And so this one's actually not a bad talent, but if you want to go this route, this is an option. Next one, Magma Chamber. Flame Shock damage deals the damage of your next Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, and Earthquake by 3%, stacking up to 20. So you can get this really high. You can go up to 60 additional percent with this. So that's the reason why I wanted to actually get this one, because it's really, really good. They can increase it higher and higher. Searing Flames. Flame Shock damage has a 100% chance to generate 1 Maelstrom. It's great, but it's just one. I'm not going to be spamming Flame Shock. I'm going to be probably spamming a lightning, lightning bolt or chain lightning. So I avoided it. Lightning Rod. That one is Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, and Earthquake make your target a lightning rod for 8 seconds. Lightning Bolt, Lightning Rods take 20% from all damage you deal with Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning versus Stormkeeper, which increases the charge rate that you get, right? So I don't like the Lightning Rod because I have to use Earthshock or Elemental Blast or Earthquake to get a Lightning Rod. I don't like that setup. I'd rather just get a charge right away and I'm just shooting out my beams faster. This is why I went this route. That's just the way I play and the way I view it. It isn't horrible, but the Lightning Rod, but I don't like playing in that style where I have to build it up and then it's activating that good power. This just feels better, which is Stormkeeper. The other one is Primordial Surge. We don't have any Primordial Surge or anything. We're not talented in that, so this way we can just avoid any of these portions. So unless you want to go that route, you can, but then you can pick one of those two. Next one is Mountains Will Fall. Earthshock, Elemental Blast, and Earthquake can trigger your Mastery Overload at 50% effectiveness. It's still pretty good, and Overload Earthquakes do not knock down enemies. That was the part that hurt me. That was the one I really didn't like. I want to knock down enemies. I want to, in case what if I'm dying and then you took it off the ability to. So now you're just using that Earthquake as pure damage. Now I'd rather have the effect and lose some of the percentage. I'd rather just keep hitting the enemy and then they can fall down. Further beyond, casting Earthshock or Earthquake while Ascendance is active extends the duration of Ascendance by 2.5 seconds. It's not bad. Casting Elemental Blast while Ascendance is active extends the duration of Ascendance by 3.5. It's not a horrible talent, something great, but you're going to have to reduce the Ascendance one by 30 seconds. So you're really putting a lot of emphasis into that Ascendance. So if it's off cooldown and you're taking a while to get it back, well, guess what? You don't get any of that power, which is why I don't pick these types, because it's taking a while to get to that where I can use it again. All right, the next one, last one, Wind Speaker Lava Resurgence. When you cast Earthshock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake, gain Lava Surge and increase the damage of your next Lava Burst by 10%. Versus this one, is the Skybreaker Fiery Demise. Flame Shock's damage over time. Critical Strikes reduces the cooldown of your Fire and Storm Elemental by 1 second. And your Flame Shock has an increased 50% chance. I thought this was extremely good, but I couldn't fit it anywhere, so I would not. I wanted this one, but I really went with this one to versus the two. But I really wanted to fit this one really bad. But I really like the Wind Speaker, this one, because when you're casting Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, Earthquake, you gain Lava Surge, and it's giving 10% damage. This one has a 50% increased critical strike chance. It's only a chance. I mean, it is 50%. It could reset, but I like the guaranteed 10%. It's going to happen a nice flat 10% versus a chance to increase critical strike. And we don't know how much that critical strike, so would you rather critical strike from a flame shock, or would you rather critical strike from a lava burst with an additional 10%? So I took my pick and I went to the lava burst. But they're both good, but that's how I went that route. But anyways, this is how I built my elemental shaman. This is the way I thought of it, and this is the way how you should kind of be determining how you should play your builds. You can look online, but you want to really look at the talents and see if this is a good fit for you, and just experiment. And more importantly, have fun with the game. That's what should be all about. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Just wanted to let you know and share you this next portion of the spec. And we still have more videos to come on the other specs and everything else in other classes. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one.